I know everybody's been wondering about the pizza, so I have to ask you about the pizza, and this hasn't happened yet, right?
No,
Okay.
I got the pizza though. I bought it from the store. Y'all's encouragement gave me gave me the strength to go ahead and buy it.
So,
Now I just have to do something with it.
and the other big question people have been asking me about is that homesickness that you were dealing with, in the beginning. Has that shifted or transformed at all?
I think it has gradually gone through a transformation, and the biggest thing is, if I try to think about that I'm going to be here 10 more months, that's just a staggering amount of time. But if I just think about I'm going to be here one more day, that's a lot more bearable. And I just focus on what's going on right now,
Uh-huh.
and that really helps to alleviate the homesickness whenever it comes up.
Yeah.
There's a lot. That's a big thing that I came here to learn too. That sort of just being present and not worrying about what might happen in the future.
Mm-hmm. You're meditating now really regularly, right?
Yeah, I meditate whenever I get up in the morning, and then I usually eat breakfast and then meditate for another half hour after that.
Okay. And so, do you notice, like science says by now that you have actually had shifts in your gray matter of your brain? Do you notice subjectively any differences in your mind state?
Yeah, I think I feel a lot more peaceful, and I still get times when there are just thoughts running around in my head going in circles, but I'm able to just focus on them and usually turn them off,
Okay.
which is something I couldn't do before. So I think I'm getting more focused, able to direct my own thoughts a lot better than I could before. Yeah, definitely yesterday I felt just really peaceful all the time, even though it was rainy and cold and wet out all day. And just felt like, yeah, I'm in the middle of a forest and there's not a whole lot to do, but that's not a problem. I
Ah,
can keep myself entertained.
has Sauron showed up at all?
Just everything random. Memories from when I was like 7 years old all the way up to the present just pop up for no reason.
Wow.
And then they just go away and I forget all about them for the next week.
Okay, so this was your first gauntlet challenge, and the gauntlet challenge is once a month. Something given to you to practice some of the skills that you've been working on. But this was to practice, although outwardly it looked like skills, it was more about mental practice. I'm guessing that's maybe what you experienced, but we'll find out. Um, so we're here at your cool camp. You found
Check it out, I'm under a car.
Wow. And yeah, let us know about your experience here.
Yeah, it was definitely the mentality of it was the hardest part. Just doing, like, I really didn't do much yesterday. Just mostly spent the day wandering around, eating fruit and picking plants and fishing. So I was allowed to bring 3 items with me besides just the clothes that I'm wearing. I haven't changed yet this morning. So I brought my flint and steel with my char cloth so I can start a fire.
That
And-
counted as one item we
Yeah.
let you have, yeah.
Right, and you can see that worked out. I brought a fishing pole, and I brought my pot so I could purify water. I didn't actually purify any water until like 8 o'clock last night, so I pretty much spent the entire day without drinking anything, which worked out okay. I got a bit dehydrated, but I got a lot of water from plants and berries and fruit. Although drinking water is definitely the most efficient way to get water from outside your body to inside your body. We found a bunch of wild plums yesterday, and they're all gone now. Those are really good. The skin is super bitter, like just like on a plum you'd buy from the store maybe. But the inside is even sweeter than any store-bought plum. Really good. So I ate all of those, and I was eating wild grapes, and I came down to the farm and just gorged myself on raspberries and a bunch of little tomato-like things that Brett showed me, black nightshade. Those are really good. And just picked a bunch of plants too. Most of the plants up here are super bitter and inedible unless you're super hungry, if you ask me. But there's some good plants down at the farm. And I spent a lot of time fishing. I was probably out in the wrong time of day. I was like mid-afternoon out fishing. So it was pretty hot. There's not much shade down by the creek. And I don't think the fish were biting. But it was a fun thing to do. Fun little diversion. Good way to spend the time. And I found some cattail rhizomes down there. I found a really big, nice one. It was like that long and
Oh, wow.
really thick. Lots of good food from that. And it actually had a shoot on one end. So I could eat that, and it tasted like cucumber. It was delicious. And then came up here after all of that eating was done to spend the night. I didn't sleep much last night. I really could have slept last night. I was in a pretty good situation here. You can see all this grass that I've hauled from all the way across the field. Some spots the hay truck doesn't collect it all and just leaves it on the ground, so there are good places to pick up grass, and I put that all down as a bedding. And I made my fire right here. Initially it was huge and hot, so I had to sit way back, but eventually it died down to comfortable coals that I could just sit next to really close. But every time I was on the verge of sleep, I would basically just start awake and realize that my fire was going out, and I'd have to, I lined up a bunch of sticks on the outside of my fire, really long things that lasted me the whole night. I just fed them in constantly, but I was waking up like every half hour to restoke the fire and make sure it didn't go out. I think I only fell asleep like once or twice last night. Most of the time I was just dozing, but then I dreamed some weird dreams about frogs. It was strange. But I had really a lot of fun last night. There were no mosquitoes, and the smoke kept them all away. There might have been like 5 the whole night. And it's really a unique experience to just sit next to a fire all night. Just as it gets colder, just huddling closer next to the coals. It seemed like one of those nights that you only have a couple of times in your life. And I'm grateful that I got a chance to be here and do that.
Did you cuddle any hot rocks?
A little bit. There wasn't really a need to. I mostly just curled up right next to the hot part of the fire.
Wow, that's awesome, because it got down, at least down in the valley, our gauge read 39 Fahrenheit,
Whoa.
which is between 3 and 4 Celsius. Yeah, so that was 7 degrees Fahrenheit from freezing.
Wow.
And it's usually a little bit warmer up on the tops of the hills here, but it still was a very chilly night.
Yeah. Still summer technically.
I feel like I could see my breath a moment ago. So, yeah.
Yeah, I tried to catch some fish. I didn't manage to. I also fished in the pond a little bit to try to catch a northern pike, but I ran out of time. The daylight was leaving. So I came up here and found some chicken of the woods growing on a tree to eat. So I skewered that and roasted it over the fire. I also found an old man of the woods and tried to roast that, but I'm not sure how successful I was.
Okay.
It didn't seem to be heating up, and it was just all light and tissuey, and I just decided, no, I'm not that hungry.
Oh.
But yeah, I realized later on that I could have just chosen my 3 items. I could have taken a sleeping bag, tent, water jug. So that would have kept me warm, dry, hydrated, and free of mosquitoes.
Yeah.
But I think this was the funner option, the more adventurous version of it. I wanted to challenge myself. It was like, I dreamed Actually, uh, Tuesday night, I dreamed about doing this, that I'd already started this and was, you know, already halfway through, had my fire going already. And when I woke up from that dream, I just knew these are the 3 items I'm going to take. Okay, I figured it out. You're just talking about going barefoot, and like 6 months ago, anytime I went out of my house, I would have put on shoes, you know, without a second thought. And now I'm thinking, why did I do that? Why do you need shoes? Shoes, they're just big and clumsy, and they slide around on your feet a lot. Who needs them? They're like $100 a pair too.
Yeah, that was the big thing for me, is they wear out so quickly. I can go barefoot, and now that my feet are adjusted to it, it doesn't hurt to do it, and I also just don't wear through shoes. And so, you know, I have those nice pairs of shoes that I keep around in case I'm going to go through really rough terrain, but otherwise, it's just, why bother?
And you brought up this conversation because we were all running through the woods, and you were saying,
Yeah, there was a time a year ago where it would be unimaginable for me to run through the woods barefoot, and now it's just like that. I do it all the time, and it's, you know, I've occasionally poked my foot and stuff like that, but relative to the amount of times I injure myself on other things, it's a pretty average amount of injuries. So yeah, I mean, it's like I avoid shoes when I can now, and that was very unusual for me a year ago.
go bare feet. That's so cool. So I came up here thinking you know, like anybody would be just huddled under their tarp staying dry, and I found you out on your exercise pole doing pullovers, and
I was waiting for the arc to show up. Take it with you.
pretty major storm last night, and it's still raining.
Still going. There's been a warm front moving in for the past couple of days. We've seen the clouds just getting uglier and uglier, but it's not supposed to last until, like, it's supposed to go away tomorrow, right?
I don't know.
I guess so.
I haven't checked weather reports. Well, you saw this coming via the clouds, you say, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Think we can get a fire started today?
Probably. I have some dry kindling and stuff stored in my box.
Well, I'm thinking we don't use any of this stuff.
Oh.
We just go out in the woods and start one. Think we can do it?
I guess if you say we, there's a higher chance.
All right, we'll give it a try today. Okay, so basically we're ready to give this a shot, and one piece of char cloth. Although it's a big enough one that you could break it in half and
I have 2 pieces.
try to? Okay.
I'm trying to keep my hands as dry as possible.
So failure out in the woods, but we came back, used the magnesium fire starter, and got it right away. Okay, and you said something that I think would surprise a lot of us about what might be challenging going back into civilization. And this had to do with toilets.
Oh yeah. Like I said, just squatting over a hole is infinitely superior to using toilets. It's just so much better. And I mean, the view is good too, but I'm gonna miss that for sure. You're not just sitting there for like 20 minutes with your book or your iPad. You just all over in 2 seconds. So much better. And leaves make fine toilet paper.
Okay, you have dealt with mosquitoes in the last couple of weeks. They've hit pretty hard, and it's this hatching of a species that's small and quick to bite and pretty painful.
Pretty agile too.
Yeah.
They can get away from you.
How are you dealing with those?
I try to imagine them as teachers. Just little teachers whispering their teachings into my ears, and that's what the buzzing sound is. And then when they land on me and they bite me, I just think, oh, my teacher has decided that I'm ready for a challenge, and that I can accept the challenge of itching for a few minutes, and that I'm capable of that. So I try to believe what the mosquito believes, that I'm capable of itching for a couple of minutes without being bothered by it. And I really deep down believe that there's nothing that they can do to hurt you. It's just that conditioned instinct on the surface to suffer from this firing of the nerves in your body. Like, it's just a sensation, and there's no reason it should cause you to suffer, but most of us just allow ourselves to just be dragged along by that sensation, and I'm trying not to do that.
And temperatures too. You said, and this actually is historical for you, that you are able to thermoregulate really well.
Yeah.
You haven't been uncomfortable, even though the temps have been sometimes high and sometimes really low at night. And
Yeah, every time I go camping somewhere hot, the first day is just always miserable and hot, and like, this whole trip's gonna suck. But then the second day, it could be the same exact temperature, and it still feels hot, but it's not uncomfortable anymore. And it's been the same way here. First day I got here, super uncomfortable, sweaty all the time, just hot, but I mean, it's hot now. It's probably 80 degrees, but it's not uncomfortable.
Huh.
And it can be, 60 degrees in the mornings, and I'm not cold because there's no sudden abrupt temperature change. Like, if you went from 70 degrees inside and walked outside into 60 degrees, you get cold, but as long as the temperature change is gradual, you can really adjust to it pretty well, and you almost don't even notice it.
okay, coffee. You actually
Oh, yes.
brewed?
I had my first cup of camp brewed coffee this morning. It was amazing. I loved it.
And did you
Loved
get
every part of it.
Did you get whole beans and just?
No, I ground up the beans at the co-op last week, so I got too much, and then I gave the rest to Dottie and John because it was going to go bad before I could drink it all. I kept a little bit. The second 2 cups were pretty weak because I tried to use the same grounds over, so I need to perfect my recipe.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.